Hello everyone, this is Mike with the ShadowTrader Stock and Options Room. It's only been a week since I made the last video on oil and gold, and so I thought I would just do a quick review and then move on to another idea I have for you today. So here's the weekly chart of oil. Nothing has really changed here, except that I'm going to remind everybody that I really feel that this bottom is very, very vulnerable. And so I'm still very bearish oil. And if I take you into a 4-hour, the only thing that I would add this week is that even though we are at a major low, the bulls are not accomplishing very, very much here at all. They are just slightly bringing it up, and the movement is very lackluster. I'll use that term. I actually entered into a fresh short trade right here this morning at that red arrow, and I'm still anticipating further downside. As far as gold is concerned, the move that I had talked about last week definitely took place. The breakout, it did come down here first and then came up, and I did take the trade that I mentioned that I was going to take and moved up here. And when we hit the 3,000 level, I anticipated that there was going to be some selling and profit taking there, and so I went ahead and exited the trade. And as you can see, we are continuing to balance sideways here. The only thing I would add to this is I actually see this as bullish right here. And if I take you back out to a longer term chart, we have this large channel here, and the whole picture is bullish. The fact that we broke out of a channel here, but only really moved into a sideways consolidation. Again, we looked at this a week ago. But the fact that we didn't do more of a definitive move down after a break of a very clean channel, I found as bullish, which is why I wanted to take this trade. The other thing, though, that I will say is that remains bullish is the fact that we are not selling off. And think in terms of time. The distance here between pivots is narrowing. And the fact that we have not sold off very much and we are right back up, this is the type of situation where I would actually anticipate the move of gold going up out of here above and exiting the channel to the top side. Often channels, on average, in my view anyway, they will resolve to the opposite direction that the channel is going, at least short term, like we did here. But not only did we not return to the bottom of this channel, we are now testing the top of it again. So don't be surprised if we see gold move on up. I was anticipating the possibility, let me get rid of that. I was anticipating the possibility that we could see gold pull back down into this level right here, and I was going to take another crack at going long right at this key level right here. But I wouldn't hang on to it if it started coming back into here, because if the price fails here, I would be willing to test it here, but not hang on to it if it fell back into this level, because then we're starting to go back into familiar territory, and who knows how far back into this it would go. So I would not risk a trade any further down than this right here, because this would still be bullish and consistent with the bullish pattern. But again, I wouldn't be wanting to go long here and start adding some down here, because I believe that that would be counterproductive and go against the narrative, I think, as it develops. So especially coming off of 3,000. So that's what I'm seeing there. Let me move to another chart idea here for you guys. So this is the weekly chart of the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. I'm seeing some general bullishness across the board in Micron and many of the other names. And I like to look at this ETF to get a general feel for the overall sector. What I think is significant here is that, at least for now, we have come down and tested below this pivot, but we didn't make it to here, and we didn't make it to the trend line, which would be the convergence of these 2 points. If we return, and I'm going to use the word if we return back up into this level right here, I'm going to view that as very bullish, and I personally will be wanting to buy some of this ETF in my IRA. And the jury is still out on whether that's going to happen. I took a little position a little bit ago in the earlier today in microchip. Let's see, I might as well just go look at that chart here a minute. That's MCHP, Microchip Technologies. Took a position here as we moved back up into this previous range after this test lower. So I'm nibbling at this already a little bit, and so that's another, I guess, an idea that I could present to you guys. And so I'm going to leave it at that. Watch for the strength here. The general strength does suggest that there's opportunity here, even in the face of the fact that the overall market is still a little bit iffy in its pullback to the upside. I think there's caution is warranted. And other than that, keep an eye on this and keep a tight stop on any trade like this. Once again, I'd like to invite you to go to shadowtrader.net and check out the subscriptions there and join us in the room of the Stock and Options room, where I am moderating along with Scott and Brad. We have a lot of good content for you there. We each have our separate ways of trading, and there's a lot of variety there for you to come in and investigate. I do my best to try to translate how I read a chart using primarily low volume zones, and there's just a lot of a great content there, I think, for you guys. So once again, I invite you to come and check that out. And until then, I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.